And that our next gathering will be in person in LA for Jesus' birthday, if anybody's in the area, on August the 16th. We have a pool party and a lot of fun and some live music to celebrate. And our next gathering will be Thanksgiving dinner with all the trimmings, November the 22nd in Anaheim as well. And we look forward to, if you're in the neighborhood, dropping by and having a smashing great dinner, homemade by Mark and his crew. Thank you very much again, Mark. And now we can again introduce our website for those who weren't on when I mentioned it. We're so proud of our new website. So please visit us in this presentation again and our previous presentations as well. ubla.org. And now, Phil, why don't you introduce Anthony and his topic?
Okay, we put a lot of time into this flyer, which has a lot of information, and including Anthony's life story here. He's been in the Urantia fold a long time. It says he was born and raised in Seattle and have lived in Washington, D.C., and Alaska and Arizona, and now Bend, Oregon. And he's the proud father of 2 daughters and 3 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. How can you, well, let's not ask that question.
It happens.
And, you know, he discovered the Urantia book in 1976 while hitchhiking along the California coast and attending a Big Sur campout. So 1976, that's about a little short of 50 years.
Yeah. Coming up.
And so he's, you know, hosted study groups and been in founding president of the Pilot Light Urantia Society of Seattle. And he's held roles on the general council and the executive committee of the Urantia Fellowship and Urantia Book Fellowship. And he helped launch the Youth and Young Adult Committee, YAYA, and currently leads a UB men's group that meets weekly, you know, over the last 5 years. So, and I understand, Anthony, you gave this to this presentation, or you talked to your men's group about reflectivity and reflection. So should be an interesting slant on it. What do the men have to say about it? But I'll wait till later to hear that. So anyway, you want to start up there, Anthony? It's already 3:25, and
yeah,
we'll have more time for questions.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Phil, for that introduction. Can everybody hear and see me fine? I'm coming through. Good. Well, you know, yep. The best laid plans, as they say. I had my laptop all laid out with a beautiful backdrop, even got flowers. But here we are on the cell phone.
Oh,
if everybody could mute their phone or device, I'd appreciate that, because I'm getting some feedback from some other people here. So if we can all go on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Oh, I'm not muted then.
No.
I'll mute me.
Yeah.
Figure out how. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, Pierre. Yeah, because I think that's you. I'm getting some feedback, so if everybody can go on mute. So thanks for the introduction, Phil and Diane, and for the opportunity to be the guest speaker for UBLA. I have a lot of respect for Urantia Book Los Angeles and your history, your great history, and I've known a lot of readers in the LA area through the years. And when I found the book, you know, Hitchhiking on the California Coast, I ended up really first being introduced to it up in Topanga Canyon. So that's near to my heart with with that beginning over, 49, it'll be 50 years next year. It's crazy.
Was that through Dan Kemp?
What's that?
Was that through Dan Kemp up in Topanga Canyon?
Whoa. It was a hitchhiker that I don't remember his name. It was the quintessential Volkswagen bus.
No, I'm from Topanga, and one of the guys that introduced me to the Urantia book, even before that, was Dan Kemp. So he was a big proselytizer of the Urantia book, storyteller, and great guy. And I was just wondering if that happened to be your initial introduction. But I don't want to interrupt your story, so just curious.
That's a curious question. Is this Andrew that talked to me?
Yeah, Andrew. Yeah, Andrew Seacat.
I would like to talk to you more after the presentation.
Sure.
No
problem.
I've never seen the person again. He introduced it in a mysterious way, like it was mysteriously found behind the vaults at Fort Knox. So clearly he didn't have the accurate history. So that may not be the same person we're talking about.
May not be, but
Do you want to eat the rest of that salad tomorrow?
Yeah.
Because I don't like that kind of lettuce.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's some crab. I'll put it in there if you want it.
Thank you.
okay.
Okay. Once again, if everybody can, this is confusing for me on my phone because all of a sudden when I hear noise, I see somebody's picture and I'm getting a lot of feedback. So thank you for that. And we'll open it up for questions. Is it my understanding we have 30 minutes to present or?
Not as much time as you need.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've budgeted 30 minutes. And of course, I'd love, to hear your comments and questions and any feedback afterwards. I've not attended one of your meetings, so I wasn't sure, for sure what your format was. So given that time, and we have time, I would like to take a moment to begin this topic of reflectivity and reflect on all our spiritual helpers that are with us right here, right now. Let's use our first act of reflectivity here together to go, wow, here we are together on Urantia, pondering these big cosmic concepts. And we're from the same class, we're egg and daughters from Urantia. And just give thanks for all the spiritual agencies and all the helpers that are around us in this moment. Just reflect on that, impinge upon us and flow within us. And that perfect fragment of God that dwells within us. What a gift. What an amazing thing to reflect on. Pure light, pure love, pure life, eternal within, and the deepest core of who we are. And to openly invite, recognize the presence of our sovereign creator, Michael of Nebadon, Joshua ben Joseph, our elder brother, Jesus is here with us. We welcome you, Master. We thank you for being with us. And we always want to remember you, to reflect and have a memory of your life and your teaching. So thank you for that, for your equal and loving co-creator, our Mother Spirit, Divine Minister. You're with us in so many ways. You touch us every day, every way, through the mind, the Holy Spirit, all the angels, midwares, the 7 adjutant mind spirits. And I want to talk about that, and we'll get to how our Universe Mother touches us through mind with this amazing gift of reflectivity. So with that, and I'll just add, I want to welcome any student visitors that may by chance be popping in on this telecast, this Zoom meeting. Never know. I'm sure that the universe is pretty curious about how us clumsy humans grapple with this gift of revelation here on Urantia. And here it is. I'll make an attempt to speak to reflectivity. I'm open and teachable to others if you have different take on this. But it is my goal with our time together is to expand our cosmic consciousness and to enhance our spiritual perception. Where have we heard that before? Just to bring greater spiritual awareness, to go big by stretching our minds. This is about cosmic reflectivity. It's a big concept, way beyond us, obviously, but we can try and grapple with it. And then also at the same time, go within and have personal reflections here now, together, today. And I think we can do both at the same time, and they're compatible. It's like space respiration, let's just go big. And at the same time, if it doesn't, apply to us and our spiritual growth, then it doesn't have a whole lot of value. So I don't want this just to be an intellectual dialogue. I want it to be about growing our soul. The big picture reflectivity has been described in the Urantia book as mysterious, vast, a phenomena, a technique, universal, supreme, tremendous, extraordinary, infallible, a service, a circuit, news gathering, and decree disseminating its cosmic mind. So these are just some of the descriptors from the Urantia book between reflect, reflection, reflective, reflectivity. There's over 300 references in the Urantia book. That's a lot. That's an important topic. It suggests to me it's something, for us to consider. And I know many of you have. And let's do it together. When it's personal, when spiritually motivated, I think personal reflections can be insightful, profound, illuminating, memorable, significant, teachable moments, an opening, personal growth. It can be life-changing, which can lead to greater understanding, bring more courage, improve social graces, increase knowledge, worship, and wisdom, which always leads to greater spirit receptivity, not reflectivity, but receptivity. So let's look at the dictionary. I mean, most dictionary definitions of reflectivity are the same, similar. It's the property of reflecting light. And so let's look at light as it's defined and talked about in the Urantia papers. They define it in 3 different ways. Of course, material light, sunlight, electric light. Isn't it amazing that Thomas Edison was less than 150 years ago? Just electric light. And then, of course, it doesn't end here. After we leave this evolutionary planet that is lit by a star and heated by a star, we go to an architectural sphere. We're going to spend a lot of time in architectural spheres. The mansion worlds are architectural spheres. They don't need sun, stars. They have these power stations, we're told, located in, throughout the planet that beam up this Morantia energy. It hits the ceiling, this shield, and this light emanates down evenly and beautifully, gracefully, like 10 in the morning. They even suggest a time. And of course, that's material light. So we'll be exposed to material light for a long time. And the reason why I talk about the architectural spheres and their lighting, they tell us if one of those architectural spheres, they even mentioned Jerusalem or system capital, was near Urantia, we wouldn't see it. So in talking about reflectivity and material light, sometimes it doesn't reflect in the universe intentionally, So number 2 is intellectual insight, and that's the mind. And that's the intellectual insight. And when we say the lights goes off and you have a bright idea, that's intellectual insight and accurately described. And then, of course, the third, least but not last, is spirit luminosity, spiritual illumination, that true light. It's known in our local universe as the pilot light, which I'm fond of that term. So today we'll be talking about the combination of 2 and 3. We're going to be talking about spirit mind. both big picture reflectivity and personal reflections. Okay, I'm going to take 7 or 10 minutes here and try and describe universal reflectivity. It originates with the third source and center, the infinite spirit, the conjoint actor, the God of action. The third person of deity is known by many different names. Well, not many, but several. Let's go with the infinite spirit. The infinite spirit is the originator of all mind, cosmic mind. And her, he, they, their first creative act, independently, the third source and center, is to create these 7 master spirits. And these 7 master spirits reside on peripheral paradise. We're told that each person of deity has 7 sacred spheres. The infinite spirits got 7 sacred spheres, and on each one of those sacred spheres is a master spirit. And these spheres navigate around the central isle of paradise. Peripheral paradise, it's called in the Urantia book. So we're not out in time and space yet. And what these 7 master spirits do is take the energy from one of the deities in a combination of all 3, and then send that out into time and space, into their super universe. And I know a lot of you are longtime readers and you understand how the Trinity turns into 7, but there's a pattern here in reflectivity that I think is worthy of reviewing how that happens. So Master Spirit number 1 on that sacred sphere of the infinite spirit somehow captures the energy or the attributes of God the Father and sends that out into their super universe, the super universe number 1. So super universe number 1, their cosmic mind is reflective of the attributes of the Father. And so it is with super universe number 2, cosmic mind is the Son. 3, the Spirit. 4, the Father and the Son. 5, the Father and the Spirit. 6, the Son and the Spirit. 7, the Father, Son, and the Spirit, the Trinity. We are in super universe number 7, or Vonton. Our universe headquarters is Uversa. And so we are of Trinity mind. And we're going to stay in our super universe our whole journey through, all the way, through the central universe, the billion spheres of Havana, until we are, become finaliters. Then we're going to be sent out into another super universe. But until then, our whole cosmic mind experience is reflective of the seventh master spirit, which is that of the Trinity. Next is the reflective spirits. So these reflective spirits are created 7 at a time. So master spirit number 1 goes and gets with the Trinity. They do their creative act. They create 7 reflective spirits. Those 7 reflective spirits are sent out into each of their super universes. Until we get to 7 times 7, we get to 49. And we get, reflective spirit 42 through 49. And then something momentous happens. And this is all at the dawn of time. And of course, we can't get our mind around that, but let's just pretend that now we're back at the dawn of time. And something momentous happens, and that is the creation of a 50th reflective spirit. And we're told the name of that reflective spirit, and that's Magiston. And that is the creative birth, the actualization of the beginning of the Supreme Being. Now, Magiston doesn't go out into time and space. It isn't on one of the sacred spheres. It is at the center of paradise. And the title of Magistone, Chief of Reflectivity. The Chief of Reflectivity. So let's go back out to these 7 reflective spirits. So now we're back out in time and space. We're in the super universes. And there's 3 ancients of days, there's 7 reflective spirits. And I want to give credit to what some of the creative energy that these reflective spirits, put out. And one being that they are the parentage of Sekanophim, these amazing angels. The Urantia book suggests that angels can be put into 3 major categories. Of course, there's so many types of angels. Urantia book teaches all kinds of angelic energy out there. But in a big general way, there's seraphim of the local universe, Sekanophim of the super universe, and Supernophim of the central universe. The billion spheres of Havona have Supernophim. So these 7 reflective spirits have created these, Sekanophim. And they also then, their next creative act is to create these 7 reflective image aids. Reflective image aids. Again, there's another being. These are beings. These are personalities. This is life. But their name, as they're brought down to us, is they're reflective, image aids. And interestingly enough, they tell us that these reflective image aids are really the voice for the reflective spirits to the ancients of days. Try and get your mind around that. I think it's important to understand at this point that and then these reflective spirits go on and create many different beings, but in the spirit of time, I'll just end it with that and suggest that with all these reflective beings, that they're not merely transmitting agents. They are retentive personalities as well. They store memory. We're told that everything of true spirit value is registered in duplicate. Wow. How does that happen? Urantia book talks about all these record keepers, but it happens through reflectivity. It's a mystery, but it's happening. There's this backup, and which brings us to the 3rd supreme spirit group that's created by the 3rd source and center, the infinite spirit. And that is the creative daughters. So every time a paradise son comes out, Father Son creates a paradise son, a Michael son. The infinite spirit creates a creative daughter, and they team up, they pair up, and they go out into space, time and space, and they create a local universe. We are living in a local universe of Nebadon. And the creative spirit is also known as the Universal Mother Spirit. I think that is the name of paper 34, if you want to read more about her. The Universal Mother Spirit. She's also known as the Divine Minister, and she comes to us in so many beautiful, creative ways. But the main thing about reflectivity, she brings the cosmic mind that's out there in the super universe from the reflective spirits, and she breathes it in to our local universe, to all life within her local universe, all the way down to us. We're animals. We have animal mind, but she gifts us with mind. And she does that, with she's home. She's the breath of life. She holds the space. She's the Holy Spirit. She's also the author of these adjunct mind spirits. And of course, number 6, is worship. Number 7 is wisdom, which gives us human identity, which happened about 1 million years ago, which gives us mind free will choice so that we can choose life, have eternal life. And that's the gift from the mother who brings the mind all the way down to us. We have an animal mind. You know, our mind does not go with us. You know, when we die, the mind stays here. When we wake up on the mansion world, we'll have a new mind. It's a mid mind. It's a Morontial mind. You know, the only time we're going to have this animal mind is when we're on this evolutionary planet right here, right now. But that said, we have all the tools we need. You know, we've been gifted with everything to succeed. And part of that is reflectivity down to us all the way into our little animal minds. Now, before I stay with us human beings and talk more about personal reflectivity, let's take it all the way back up, because that's what reflectivity is. Everything that happens within the local universe, everything within the mother's mindal circuit, then is sent back up through the super universe, through the reflective spirits, back up to the master spirit. And the master spirit doesn't send it back to the infinite spirit. The infinite spirit knows everything that's going on. The master spirit sends it to paradise, to Magiston, and that is reflected up into the supreme being. And through this mystery and magic and miracle of reflectivity, the supreme being experiences everything. And somehow, some way, you know, this is how the universe works. And this supreme being is it's the God of evolution. But it assimilates everything within all the universe. And that only can happen through reflectivity. It's the oversoul of time and space. It gathers, it captures, it retains, it duplicates everything. And there is the mystery of reflectivity. Personal reflections. So let's get back to us humans. So we bounce back up. Let's go back down to us humans. And who better to start with than Jesus? This is from Truth and Faith sermon. I think this is paper 132, where he's talking to Naban, the Greek Jew. But truth can never become man's possessions without the exercise of faith. This is true because man's thoughts, wisdom, ethics, and ideals will never rise higher than his faith, his sublime hope. And all such true faith is predicated on profound reflection, sincere self-criticism, and uncompromising moral consciousness. So Jesus is putting a pretty high mark, you know, a spiritual value on profound reflection. And if we were in a group together physically, I know Zoom has the capability of breakout groups, but we're not doing that today. But if I was leading a workshop and we were all together, I'd love to break out into groups and just ponder that, reflect on that. What does that mean? What does that look like? How does that feel to you? What is profound reflection? You know, how do you experience that? One thought that I have, just, you know, not that it's the answer, there's so many answers, but that's why group sharing is so beautiful, through our unique personalities. But it feels like, you know, it's an equivalent to the fruit of the spirit, enlightened honesty. You know, to be open, teachable, humble, listen to spirit, that can be, you know, profound in our reflections. Now, I don't want to imply that profound reflections or personal reflectivity or intelligent reflection, which I'd like to get to, is always passive, because it's not. You know, third source and center is the God of action. You know, thought, the word, and the deed. You know, it's about doing. And so the mind, you know, it can do a lot of things, you know, quickly, obviously. And I believe that we can be in the moment with our reflectivity, and we can do both. We can take the time at the end of the day, and reflect on the day. And, when we go through our gratefuls and give gratitude to life and all our blessings, reflect. For me, in the moment, though, it can be like taking a breath. It's like having a pause. It's being present when listening. It's getting to know another person, sincerely making an effort to get to know another person. That can be very deeply reflective. Becoming a better partner. Serving with greater awareness. Just basically to be present, to be awake. So many people go through this life and they're not awake. They don't reflect. They're not aware. And Spirit asks us to reflect profoundly, personally, intelligently. God the Spirit is God of action. There's nothing more satisfying than reflecting back on a full day, time well spent. So I think we can do both in a day and in a lifetime. I think we can reflect back on our childhood, when we were parenting. There's so many things to reflect upon, not to get stuck in it and obsessed with it, to balance it, but it is a place of reflectivity where I think Spirit can grow us. And that's what it's all about. Here's the challenge of not being on the laptop. I think the next quote that I had is in my phone, and I'm going to pull it up from a photo. And that is, this is from paper 130, Intelligent Reflection. Jesus talking with Ganid on the way to Rome. And he says, to become acquainted with one's brothers and sisters, to know their problems, and to learn to love them is the supreme experience of living. Let's reflect on that for a minute. To know their problems and to learn to love them is the supreme experience of living. Will is the deliberate choice of a self-conscious being, which leads to decision conduct based on intelligent reflection. So again, Jesus is putting a value on reflection. I also look at reflectivity, is in sometimes, I just take a picture of the moment in my mind through the gift of mind and try and just imprint it on my soul. And I know a lot of you do that as well. It can be a moment of physical beauty. It can be on a hike to a waterfall and just go, wow, I want to take this in. I want to remember it. And, I'm going to take a spiritual photograph, of this moment. A beautiful sunset it can be things of beauty. It can be seeing a mother holding a baby today. I mean, what's more profoundly beautiful than that? It can be of a relationship that happened. I think it's important on our reflections that we don't just rely on our thought adjuster and our angels to hold the memory. I want to consciously contribute. I sometimes ask God if it's in keeping with your will. I want to remember this moment. And if I think there's value here. And if it can be replayed in some way at another time, even, when we have those study groups where there's, wow, these really high moments, those can be played out again, we're told. But it's going to require somebody to be really present and really want to remember it and have a profound spiritual experience with it and see the value, the beauty of it. But I want to contribute to my thought adjuster's memory. We're told the thought adjuster, when we die, takes the mind spirit duplicate in trust. And then the angels, of course, take our soul. Where the personality goes, that's yet another universe mystery. I'm not trying to tackle that one, but when we're resurrected, our thought adjuster brings our spirit mind duplicate and the angels, of course, the soul, and we're repersonalized. I want to bring as much as I can to that memory, to be present in it, to take these memorable moments and capture them. And to that extent, let's talk about the human Jesus. Back to Jesus, being very human. This is one of his most human moments, I think. There's several, but this is on, the last few hours of his life, at the camp, Gethsemane, April 6th, going into April 7th. He's going to be crucified in a few hours. The apostles are asleep. He's been betrayed. He feels lonely. He feels abandoned. He hasn't had any sleep. But then he accesses his human memory to comfort himself. He has visions of his childhood, early work in Galilee, pleasant scenes of his earthly ministry, we're told. Nazareth, Capernaum, Mount Hermon, where he had some amazing memories. Some of us have had an opportunity to go to Mount Hermon. Sunrise and sunsets on the shimmering sea of Galilee. Isn't that a poetic line? The shimmering sea, the simmering sun on the Sea of Galilee. He did this to comfort himself. The human Jesus pulled back from the moment and reflected on these beautiful memories to comfort himself. And so one of my questions is, how do we know that? Isn't that wild? We know what Jesus said, where he walked, what day it was. How do we? The midwares tell us that. They had access to what he was thinking, to how he was accessing his memories. I don't know if they had that awareness in the moment or got it, with permission to bring us this amazing gift, this revelation of the life and teachings of our master. But somehow the midwayers are the memory of the planets. They remember. Isn't that wild? Our history is remembered by these living beings. And 2,000 years ago, they remembered exactly what the Creator Son was doing, thinking, and sharing with us. And they got permission to send it down to us. So reflect on that. That's pretty wild, and I'm so grateful that they have. I'm going to end with a couple minutes here of how I share and reflectivity sometimes. Like when I moved to worship, I might express gratitude, put words to all my blessings, but oftentimes I'll then move into a beautiful image, a memory. That's how I sometimes get into a higher worship, is recall one of these amazing memories, which kind of leads us to, that bigger question that I may have asked whatever group it was. But, when we're on our deathbed, what memory, when we're being tried on some deep level, what memories do you want to pull up? How do you want to comfort yourself? And I want to practice that. And sometimes, you know, and I just want to see some of the beauty. Urantia is a double default upside down mess. We know that. There's war, there's just incredible savagery happening right now as we gather. But it is a beautiful planet. Take in the beauty. It is so awesome. We're asked to see the beauty, take it in, reflect on it, and then sometimes then my thoughts can wander to the wonders of the universe, the mysteries, the pure love that I feel within, that spirit luminosity, the presence of the Father, and sit in worship of our heavenly Creator. So with that, thank you for reflecting with me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Anthony. And I'm sure there are questions. I had one comment that I read recently that I thought might give us some, it goes right with your material on the mother's spirit. Our first spiritual endowment comes, our personality, spirit pattern, comes from our universe mother spirit, way before we get any spiritual sonship, way before the thought adjusters arrive, you know, when we're 6 or so. Our personality is there, well, I guess when we're born at least, and it comes directly from the mother spirit. So that surprised me, but it shouldn't have. So yeah, reflectivity, and they talk about that phenomenon that allows the events and sights and sounds of some event to be shared by at another place and time.
Right. Right.
There's a lot of that they don't explain to us.
Yeah. Yeah. It remains a mystery for sure.
So Andre, all right. Well, Diane, you want to ask a question? You're muted at the moment.
I would think that one of the times reflectivity would serve us the most might be when we're in times of conflict with ourselves or with someone else. It's the process of getting wisdom requires something has to move out of the way so the new idea and wisdom can take its place sometimes. And I ran across this. It says, next time you find yourself in conflict, pause, breathe into the body, and ask yourself, reflecting, what am I truly needing here? What is this moment revealing about me? And remembering the other person is not the problem, they are the mirror. And conflict is the crack where the light can get in. Now that would be a big dose of reflectivity to take in your side of the story and the other side of the story and your experiences before this. I see it like walking into a gallery with all of your experiences hanging on the wall. If you're 5 years old, you don't have many pictures on the wall to help you out, so you struggle. But when you're my age, you got lots of pictures on the gallery wall and lots of experiences to draw from for that particular moment of conflict or joy or whatever. So the older we get, the more material we have to work with. But you've expanded the picture so largely now, I've got a lot more to take in that's contributing to my gallery on the wall here.
Thank you, Diane.
Yeah, Andre.
Oui, thank you. Two things, Anthony, that amaze me. First of all, you popularize very well the subject of reflectivity, which subject is so mystery in the community, in the book, when we read about it. And the second one, who is very important, when you do the opening prayer, is one of the first time I hear somebody taking act that Michael and Nebadonia are present right now with us. And you address directly to them. And that for me was, you say in English, flabbergasting. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. Glory to God.
And yeah, I see Marie's,
Yeah, thanks. And my husband Tom can support me in sharing this. When Antonio, when you talked about reflecting on your day, pondering what happened, being grateful for it, in the psychological world, there's something called savoring. And savoring is a process of doing exactly what you talked about. It's a deeper, more focused and present reflection of what's going on. That something that you're experiencing that you really want to save, hence savoring. So the components of savoring are recognizing that something is unique to you, beautiful, profound, whatever stirs in you a feeling of wanting to focus. So that's the first step. And in doing that, bringing as much of your focus as you can to it. So really focusing your senses on what's happening. Then the second part of it is expressing gratitude for that experience. And then the third part is sharing it with someone, because it seems that in the sharing, that seems to compound the reflection, the memory, the experience of it. And the more savoring experiences we can have and save up, again, like Jesus, every time I read that in Gethsemane, I think Jesus was savoring. Jesus savored to help him get through an hour. It would take me days to get ready to go through what he was going through. He did it in an hour, bless his heart. But he savored, those were savoring experiences that he had. And the more that we can savor, the more then we can appreciate and enjoy the beautiful things that come to our life, because we all know there are more than enough disgusting, horrid, ugly things that happen. You really need to I find that it's important for me, let me just talk about me, to make this a really active process that I do daily. I've started a joy journal where every day I write something about what's joyful in that day, because there's a lot of less than joyful things happening. And so for me, that's another expression of savoring.
Thank you, Marie.
You're so very welcome.
Save for you, my friend. You're muted, Phil.
Oh, did you call me?
Tom, you have a sequel to that?
Yeah, I posted in the chat the synopsis of what Marie said about savoring. I've prepared a lot more, but it wouldn't fit in the chat. But you can see the essence of savoring there, and like Marie said, the high points which she covered is right there in the chat.
Okay, I see it. Yeah, they limit you to so many words, I think, in the chat.
Yeah, so I had to make it short.
Well, anybody could share their screen if they have something they want to share. That's true of you too, obviously, Anthony. If you have something on your phone that you want to share, you should be able to do it at the bottom. There's a share.
Yeah, I was all set up on my laptop, and I've done a lot of Zoom meetings, weekly, like most of us have. But yeah, for some reason, a little bit IT challenged with the link today. So
Of course.
happy to be
Figure
here.
out how to stop that from happening, but I can't do it on the fly.
Right.
Yeah, Pierre or Pamela, I guess I saw
Doreen.
Doreen.
I see Doreen. Hi, Doreen.
She's got her digital hand up.
Hey. Hi, Tony. The last time I saw you was in DC in your apartment.
Wow. Wow. That was a while back.
Yeah, that was when what's his name came out with these sources and everybody was going crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for your presentation. You brought so many things to my mind. Number one, I never asked, but I always received. And that was so strange that the visions came to my mind. I would meditate and I was shown my future. I was shown all different things. And even if I had a thought, it became a reality. It was just, I can't explain it, but even if I say, okay, God, I'm leaving the house now, how can I serve you? Because I live in a city and I can talk to many, many people. So I walk out and then here is somebody sitting on a bench, one end, and I'm sitting on another. And I'm reading just a book, and and I got up to leave, and he said to me, the Spirit said I should speak to you. And I looked at him, what? And he said, I don't know why. So tell me, what do you do? And blah, blah, blah. And I told him, he says, well, I read every philosophy book there is out there. So, because I said I study, origins, history, destiny, religious philosophy, and et cetera, et cetera. And he said, oh, I read it all. I said, I bet you didn't read this one. So he said, what's the name? Right away, everybody takes out their cell phone and looks it up. You're around. He says, oh my God, I never heard of it. Oh, I can't believe it's something I missed. So anyway, we became friends. He doesn't even live in the city. He lives down south, I think of Virginia. And he comes up to visit his wife every so often. She's an airline hostess. So anyway, it was like instant, so instant. I felt his soul. And he wrote to me one day, and I never told him this, but it was like there was this, holy smokes, I never felt that, even with my husband that I loved. This was so unusual. And what do you call it? It was just that, anyway, I'll stop with that. But there was dozens and dozens of experience. They showed me my future. They showed me where I'd live years later. They showed me my husband dying. I couldn't interpret it. They showed me when the wall came down in Germany with the communists. It was like, oh my God, everything that was in my life came to reality. And I didn't even know. Remember, I was brought up atheist. So I had no idea about God and religion and all. And it just unfolded like the plan that the Thought Adjuster had, just unfolded, every single thing. And I'm so happy, and I never was happier than I am to find the love of God and, in the Trinity and all the angels, they're always there. So there's so much, you could share, but without due respect for other people, I'll stop. But thank you for being here and doing that. It's so delightful to see you.
Good to see you, Doreen. Likewise. Love you. Yeah, you look well.
Thank you very much, Doreen, for that sharing your experience.
Pamela has her hand up.
Yes. Oh, hello, everyone. And oh, Anthony, this is such a great topic. I just love it. And I really appreciated how you were talking about reflecting on memories. And I don't know what's going on in my mind, but I'll just say it like this. My mind is a sieve. So I don't really hang on to memories, very well. And for the way you described the Gethsemane experience, you gave me something to work with. it's like I don't have to just live with this. I can do something about it. And it's interesting too, because the whole idea of reflectivity has just triggered me all along ever since I read about it in this book. And since I'm trying to imagine how it is even shaped, it's as if it's a big hologram.
Yeah.
Everything is flashing off of everything else. And then it makes me think about kindred minds and kindred spirits. And that's all a part of reflectivity.
It is. That's a good point, Pamela. Yeah. I didn't bring that up.
So it's
Cosmos is filled with large mirrors strategically placed.
yes, exactly. Mirrors. Yes. It's and this Magiston character, he gotta be something.
He's one of my favorites in the book. Yeah.
I mean, what a name, it couldn't get any bigger than that.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, thank you for this. This is very helpful and very loving the way you shared it. Yeah, very worshipful.
Well, Pamela, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Tom, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that I found doing reflectivity as Anthony's shared with us has been really helpful for me in combating depression. And in the chat, I'll just review. This is for, I used to teach positive psychology, so what Anthony was calling reflecting on memories, positive psychology calls savoring, and it's the power to focus on, value, and boost enjoyment of almost any experience that you have. And Marie was talking about this, to savor, enjoy pleasurable, positive experience related to some current or a past experience. And in doing it, what you do is you're, like Marie was saying, you pay attention to what you're experiencing. It's like stopping and smelling the flowers. Just you see something, like you could be driving and just see something really pretty, and just taking a moment to pay attention to that. And then the next one is to appreciate the moment with an attitude of gratitude. So that's being real grateful for it. To me, it's grateful to God. It's kind of a stimulus for worship. And then the next thing that really enhances it is to tell somebody about the experience. Like maybe you saw a great sunset, so tell somebody about it, what you experienced. And what they find in psychology in doing that, it actually can elevate your emotions. It can release positive endorphins. And so you can be, I've had this, I have periods of time in my life where I've had depression. And I found that a good antidote to it is when, something that I'm depressed about and I'm focusing on, once I've dealt with the issue, if there's something to do with it, then to start trying to look at, hey, what are the things that I can be grateful for? What are things that are positive in my life that I've experienced? And now I'm reflecting back on the past and then reflecting on those experiences and then talking to God about how much you appreciate it, being grateful for it. It can really pull you out of a material depressive experience into a higher spiritual frame of mind and being more positive and feeling better about yourself and your life.
Thank you, Tom.
Diane.
Yes, I'm finding since I've come to terms with the challenge of challenges, they tell us that's the only way we learn. So the more challenges, the better, actually. So instead of dreading them so much now, it's like we know who's going to win this game in the end. It's going to be God. So no matter how bad it looks now, not to worry, the good guys are going to win in the end. So that gives you what the book calls an assurance I'm not sure how they word it, the assurance that I suppose that God is there for you. And so it seems like there's not much reason to be afraid of stuff because the good guys are going to win in the end. And so therefore, if challenges are the reward, actually, the way you gain wisdom, then the more the better. So using this tool you've just described for us and given us, I can go forward and actually anticipate the challenges and the hard times, and I don't know what I'm going to do with, well, this is going to be interesting. They're going to be giving me some clues, and then my job is to clear the air so there's no fear in the air, no dread. The good guys are going to win. I just keep saying that over and over. The good guys are going to win, so not to be afraid of anything. And now the air is clear and I can hear my thought adjuster's messages telling me what to do in this challenge that I'm being presented. That normally, without this lack of fear, I would be immersed in fear. And what if this, and what am I going to do? And oh my, that kind of a air would be around my head and my thinking. And if I can just use this reflectivity, that the thing's there and I'm not have to worry about anything. I mean, really, anything. They're there so the child adjuster can talk to me and reflect on the times I won instead of the times I lost. And my goodness, think how much progress one could make if one never entertained dread or fear again, but just keep saying the good guys are going to win in the end, and all I have to do is experience this new challenge and keep the channels clear so I can hear what I'm supposed to do. So thank you so much. You've made it much easier.
Thank you, Diane.
Oh, I see Rafi has his digital hand up. And then Doreen and then Barb.
Oh, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, thank you very much for your presentation, sharing your spiritual and intellectual acuity about this matter. I have a few questions. First, what is reflective aid to reflective? Okay, let me just rephrase it. What reflective aid is to reflective spirit is Majeston to the Supreme Spirit. Are they similar? And is Majeston contactable at this point?
Mm-hmm. There's a good question. Well, my answer to that, Rafi, is that no, Majeston is not. Majeston is a personality, but is not contactable at this point. Only the reflective circuitry, those personalities that are in the business of reflecting, can contact Majeston. And of course, that's not us right now. Whether we'll meet him in the Supreme Being, I'm pretty sure. The reflective aids were created by the 7 reflective spirits, and that's one of the mysteries to me. They tell us that they're the voice for the reflective spirits. We have 7 reflective spirits out in time and space. The 7 reflective spirits on our capital of Uversa represents the highest personality of the infinite spirit in time and space. And they are personalities, but they created other reflective beings to kind of speak on their behalf, which is kind of an interesting way to look at it. But between the Ancients of Days, which there are 3 per super universe, and 7 reflective spirits, that's the power center of our super universe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I don't know if I answered your question. That's all I was going to say.
Yes. Also, if I may ask, have you thought about mind and spirit gravity and whether they're related to reflectivity or they're accomplished through reflectivity. I don't know.
Another good question. Yeah, I have, and they are. And yeah, I could try and speak more to that, but maybe I can email it out. I think there's definitely a connection there. You know, I appreciate that thought. I put together, if we were in a workshop together, I'd hit you with a handout with more quotes because I'm old school. I can digitally upload some of the things that I've put together and try and answer, because that's probably too big to answer right now. But you're onto something. You got your mind around this.
So thank you very much, Anthony. Again, I really benefited, and seems like a lot of people benefited from your presentation, judging by their comments and answers. Thank you again very much.
Appreciate it, brother.
I'd like that email too.
Yeah. I'll try and put some together.
Well, Barb hasn't had a chance to comment. Then Doreen.
Well, thank you very much, Phil. And Tony, it's always great to see you. We miss you up here in Alaska. And I know you're never very far away. And I know our paths will cross again sooner than later. So you're a gifted teacher. And you're gifted in a way that I'm seeing more and more on Zoom calls where, you're well versed, so well studied in the theology of the Urantia book. And you have taken it over the years. I've seen it happen many times. You've really taken it in such a great teaching manner that is very non-intellectual. It's very personal, and it comes from the heart, and you speak from the soul. So I'm seeing more of that. I see it in Patrick Yesh's Zoom call. And I think it's a real shift that's happening within our movement of really being able to incorporate these teachings and speak it in human speak. And so I wanted to compliment, and I'm so glad I got to see you doing this. And it means a lot to everyone here. But I also wanted to comment on the way you have presented it. Is so much how the Urantia book does it, where we're also given a tremendous responsibility by having these teachings to, in a sense, course correct our animal behavior. And I mean, I could be doing it all day long, as could most of us. And, because it's reflecting back throughout our entire universe to Majeston, to the Supreme Being. Mm-hmm. And so it's all a reminder of how do we keep ourselves in check and receive the help that Diane was attributing to get through the challenges and whatever, but also to know that we are given this unique revelation that is saying to us, I have an opportunity to grow God, the Supreme. It's like, wow, that's sometimes so overwhelming. It's like, oh my gosh, where do we really ever hear that? And so through this methodology of what they've created with the reflective spirits and aids and so on, it's a two-way operator, so to speak. And I think that's for my human monkey mind and behavior, that's the two-way operator in action. And I put my how would I say it? I endeavor to do that more of the day as I learn, the way you've been teaching this. So keep teaching, keep showing up, and you got a big fan club out here, as you hopefully hope you've known that. So thank you.
Thank you, Barb. A compliment from you is always golden. It's a treasure. Thank you so much. I love you.
I love you.
I miss you, yeah. And Marilyn, yeah, love you.
Well, Doreen, you have something you'd like to add?
Yes, I just want to respond to Diane in your commentary. Diane, when I read the book As Jesus Passed By, it was to me, a light went on. And when I walk down the street, any place I go, I smile to people, I say good morning, or whatever. And they say, "Why are you so happy?" And I stop the babies, Tony, and with the women in the carriages, and I love the little kids. They're just gorgeous. And so what happens is I never have wrote. It's just let the spirit flow. And people tell you, "Well, this is terrible," but and you have so much information to share the positive, upliftment stuff. Afterwards, they thank me so much. It changed my day. I had a business. I used to do the same thing. People came in and some of my help would say, "I don't want to wait on that person. They're nasty." I said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." So I go out. First thing I would say, "Gee, what's the matter? You look so sad." "Well, I just found out I had cancer. My husband died." I mean, it was so, why do people look that way? It's like you have to understand, reach their heart and soul. They just want to let it out, and they share with you because it's so traumatic life and people are so depressed. And every place I go, I try to uplift the people. Whatever they say to me, don't worry about it, because we have so much information, and they're so happy to hear there's alternative thinking, because everybody, commiserates with people that are miserable. "Oh, you poor thing." No, everything will be great, and it's not that you think it is. There is no end. There's a continuum. Don't worry about it. And, on and on I can go. But just think of all the good things you have read and share that with others. They are thrilled. I can't believe you. Dozens of people I've met said, "Thank you for coming by and telling me this." Even my doctors, they gave me their telephone number to talk to their wife sometimes because maybe they were having issues, and I was laughing. Sure. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to share with you. Don't look at the negative. Look at all the beauty and the goodness and the truth that we know that God gave us. And to me, that works. So let the spirit lead.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, we still have another 27 minutes before 5 o'clock. And I don't see any more
And I
hands.
know there's more questions that you haven't asked yet, so look into your heart and let's hear it.
Oh, I didn't know I had that much more time to go on.
Yes, you have some more to add to it?
No, I'll stop with where we're at. Feels good to me.
Well, there are some practices I wonder if you could share that you've come across after learning all this. How do you find it in your own life?
Well, you're asking me that, Diane?
Yes.
Yeah.
It must have changed how you think after learning all this.
Well, it just, what I've learned is how much I really don't know about the mysteries of the universe. And I do want to qualify that too. I mean, this is just my little human take on, the information that we've been given. I did do some research, obviously. When I first presented this, the men's group that I've been a part of for 5 years, we meet weekly and we show up. And we really enjoy getting together and talking about all these different topics. And I'll introduce a topic and just send it around the room and ask, usually I ask questions. It's kind of how the format is. And we go around the circle. And we're pretty good at not over talking each other, which we've learned to do through the years. There has been some improvement in us men over some of the decades. Back in the day in study group, we were terrible. We'd stomp all over, anybody else talking. But we've learned to listen, and it's a pretty wise group, of seasoned readers that meet on this, and ask some questions and just take in their thoughts on it. But like I said, in writing this up, I try and incorporate reflectivity as a lead up to my worship. And, I'm trying to be more disciplined about doing that on a regular basis. And for me, recalling the beauty, as I think we've all pointed out, is so helpful. I used to live up there in Alaska with Barbara and Marilyn, and just the alpenglow on the Chugach Mountains. I mean, it's just spectacular. I mean, I want to recall that on the Mansion Worlds. They're going to ask, like, wow, what was it like on Urantia? I want to be able to answer it with some, with a memory that, notice. I didn't walk past the beauty. And I think we're awake and aware, all of us here, And I think that's what profound reflectivity is. And it is a two-way thing, as Barb suggested. I want to contribute to the Supreme. And that's a big thing, but it's a simple thing too. It's just like talking to God, sharing with God. I mean, that's what we're called to do, asked to do, is just share our inner life. And we're all clumsy humans, but God wants us to share. And, just the other day, I was going for a morning walk in the desert. I'm still down here in Arizona, where it's 108 degrees out there, or something like that, which is a long story. I'm stuck here waiting for an auto repair, but can't wait to get back to the Northwest. That said, I think we got another Arizonan on the call. Is Larry on the call? I can't see anything with my.
I have a question, Anthony.
Okay.
Is reflectivity? Do you see reflectivity involved with fast travel in any way? For instance, souls that arrive on the Mansion World, first Mansion World, on the third day after death. And, there's no landing glass on the first Mansion World. So we don't get there by seraphic transport. That would take way too long. Apparently, there's some kind of a paradise technique that can get us way past the speed of light,
right,
to the first Mansion World. Another example, of course, is that an angel somehow or other can also be with us normally when we wake up on the third day. And so how does the angel get to the first Mansion World, which can't be nearly 3 days travel by, through space? So I'm wondering, is this reflectivity phenomenon, which allows some mysterious kind of seeing and experiencing what is not here, but someplace else, somehow or other we can get to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering about that.
Yeah, that's a big thought, Phil. I don't have the answer to that one. I don't think it has to do with the mysteries of reflectivity. I mean, that's my short answer.
Yeah.
I think most all of reflectivity is in the domain of mind, and not the physical space travel. That's my understanding. And the Mother Spirit holds the mind. And yeah, the speed, heck, midwayers can go twice the speed of light, right? I mean, they're circumnavigating this planet all the time. They popped in and out of this conversation multiple times. So it's that, but yeah, that's a mystery to me, the travel.
Well, yeah, we can't move that fast physically, but they have a dematerialization process and then rematerialization.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe Star Trek had the right idea. Zoom me up,
Scotty?
Scotty.
You're a science guy than me there, Phil. Astronomy and science is more your category. I don't know. Diane.
Yeah, you've inspired me. I'm thinking now I will very consciously and deliberately store up wonderful memories and the horrendous ones as well in anticipation of arriving on the Mansion Worlds. And it's as if you just came from Vietnam War, and Urantia probably has the reputation to be in the worst place in the universes, and horrendous and war-torn and savagery. And I mean, my gosh, they're gonna be crowding around each one of us and saying, my God, you've been to Urantia, tell me, what was it like? And I want to be ready with some really good stories of how maybe wonderful it is as well, and maybe some horror stories along with it. But I better be ready, because we're going to be celebrities.
Yeah, when you ask, Marie, I think wants to chime in here too, but when you ask about how I practice reflectivity, one thought that I didn't get to was, a dear friend just passed away here a couple weeks ago, and Pat Bedell Martin, and I don't know, maybe some of you saw a little tribute that I sent out, and she and her first husband were, the officers of UBLA back when it first Urantia Society of Los Angeles. And on our last visit, she was just beaming and smiling. And I said, Pat, I want to take your picture. And I did. And that's the photo that I sent out. And, photos are reflective light. And it's interesting how photographs can really stir us. And on the third day after Pat died, she happened to die on a Friday, like our master. And on Sunday, I took out that photograph and I tried to reflect not on her physical image, but I tried to reflect on her personality and just know that I'm going to recognize her personality in the next life. I'm not going to recognize her physical form any more than Mary Magdalene recognized Jesus in his Urantia form. What does that look like? Reflect on that. Reflect on seeing our personality. And sometimes when I go deeper with reflectivity, I want to take in your personalities and recognize them, here, now, not be obsessed with your physical form as we all age, but see your unique, beautiful personality. That's a form of reflectivity for me. But so Marie.
Got to unmute. Lovely thoughts, Tony. That's really great because, as being material beings, we tend to always focus on what we see. And it's so great to look beyond what we see and recognize who that person truly is. And that's who we're going to get to know through eternity. So that's a really great focus, because this is going to go. There's two thoughts I've had. First, Diane, when you were talking about storing up memories of this planet, both positive and negative, I've gone through the alphabet, almost the whole alphabet, and it's awesome and it's awful. It's beautiful and it's beastly. This planet is just so many contradictions. And, we know what got us there. And I think that those contradictions are what's going to partially make us truly unique in the afterlife experiences that we have in relating to other people, that we're going to try to communicate what life on this very challenging planet has been. And then the other thing I wanted to share is I lead Thursday night study, and we're focusing on Jesus, the life and teachings. And at the end of our study, I always ask a question for people to reflect on. and I ask people about how they think they relate to the Supreme. And I was very surprised how most people, many people, I won't say most, some of the answers were, well, that's out there. The Supreme is out there when all of this, all of the universes come into light and life, and the Supreme is manifested. That's not how I look at the Supreme, because I look at the Supreme as the form of deity that is not only evolving with the planet, but it's helping us evolve. And so I shared that I feel like I relate to the Supreme when I'm working with children and enjoying the experience and relating information maybe that's new to them, or caring for the woman I cared for before she died, or loving my husband and my children, or relating to my friends, or leading study. These things all evolve me and help evolve the planet and help evolve the Supreme. And so really, we are very much right here, right now, helping the Supreme evolve as the Supreme evolves us.
Mhm.
And I really think it's important that we recognize that co-evolutionary experience, because it's really easy, like I said, to put the Supreme out there. The Supreme is very important to all that's going on here. It's action right here, right now, trying to make all this come together. So the Supreme's very important to what we're doing. It's not yes, it's eternal, but it's not a maybe out there kind of experience. It's right here, it's right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that We're
Yeah.
co-creators. Well said, Marie.
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead,
Mhm.
Tom.
Honey, you're unmuted.
You'll have
we are all in process with the evolving Supreme and with the Mother Spirit and with Christ Michael. Yes. What I wanted to share is just thinking about reflecting and how that can relate to worship and what I talked about, savoring things. I think that we can do that to elevate ourselves, our own physical emotions, and elevate us spiritually by reflecting on physical things, physical good positive experiences we've had, beautiful sunset, a rainbow, things like that. Or then also mental things, learning processes that we've had. And then also, I think most importantly for me is reflecting on spiritual experiences that I've had. Iconic ones that, were uplifting. Like for me, the first time I accepted Jesus into my life and really feeling his presence, or when one time when I had a real big problem and I'm praying for an answer and all of a sudden the answer's right there. And those experiences that validate that there's a God. Because there's sometimes, in our material world, especially what's going on in the whole planet and our nation right now, it can look like, where is God? And reflecting back on those spiritual experiences can remind me that I've had personal experiences with God and I'm having them still. And so he is present. And I loved Diane's concept of the good will win. No matter how bleak it gets at times, the good will win. So savoring those positive experiences, especially our own personal spiritual experiences, I think, and reflecting on those is really helpful for us in staying positive and keeping in communion with God.
Mm. Thank you, Tom. I like that. Yeah.
So, anybody else have a question or a comment? Somebody who hasn't talked yet.
We may have exhausted them now, Bill.
Well, Rafi's got his hand up again.
All right.
I always have questions. So, Phil, I guess this might be a reaction based on what you said today, because you said personality is given to us by our mother spirit. But somehow I thought that personality comes from the first source and center. Am I incorrect?
Well, it does, but it comes through the mother spirit.
Okay. All right. It makes sense now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised when I first read that recently. But that's our first spiritual endowment. Our personality, the pattern of our personality is fixed. And that's how we'll recognize each other from now until through eternity. Even though we'll have a lot of changes in our physique, there's something about us that's just the way we talk, the way we move, that's unique. And our thought adjusters want to fuse with us to become that person, that fused person.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So I really appreciate this whole discussion. It's really been great. And when I think about reflectivity, I often in reading the Urantia book and just in other times, I think of meditation because meditation is I just think it's so intertwined with reflectivity. And so I'd like to get your perception of that, Anthony. Is that, how do you view the interrelationship? Because I know that they're not totally separate things. There's meditation and that's spoken of highly throughout not only the Urantia book, but all the religions of the world, and it's an experiential reality. And I see it as deeply intertwined with reflectivity, but maybe they're not exactly the same, and it depends on how you define meditation too, because different religions define it differently and etc. But I think in a spiritual aspect of it, there's at some level you're talking almost about a very similar or the same thing.
Yeah,
You
that's
hear
my.
what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying? Do you have a take on that?
Well, I'm with you, Andrew. I think they are very intertwined, very similar.
Yeah.
But you want to define meditation. I tend to use the word worship more. I know the book can be bounce around between those two different definitions. But yeah, when there's spirit contact and we use our mind, which is not in between our ears, and we use our brain to access our mind, our super consciousness, and visualize the spirit within. That's deeply reflective in my thinking. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I try and see my thought adjuster, that pure light that dwells within my deepest part of being, and see that light emanating and just glowing. And
I hear you. Yeah, that's what I do when I'm quote unquote meditating. It's I visualize my thought adjuster, but even though it's beyond time and space, I don't really see it. But
no, but your creative imagination can, and I think reflectivity can also be tied to imagination. Certainly faith can be. One of the definitions of faith that they offer us in the text is the spiritized creative imagination. And we're encouraged to use our imagination. I think that's one of the problems with some of our societal things, that we tend to beat out imagination. Once a kid gets to a certain age, we're supposed to drop it off. But I think the spirit life is really enhanced with accessing imagination. I think faith. I'm in. We're imagining a God that we're not seeing. We're feeling. We're knowing, but there's nothing, I think, unreal about spiritual imagination.
That's great.
Yeah.
We have Andre wants to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, just would like to say a big thanks to you, the organization and the gathering, to be all together. And a big part of it was your sharing, Anthony. But every one who take the stand to say something. And it's very uplifting and very, not just interesting, very great. I'm very grateful for the organization to set up such a session on Zoom meeting. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Andre.
Andre, I'd like to know if there are some groups or associations where you are that you take part in.
Plenty. I'm used to do the Zoom meeting with UUI Cafe, and I'm part of a lot of group session in Quebec and throughout the world, in Belgium and so on. And I really enjoyed the brotherhood of each of us who know the Urantia book, and as Doreen, you say, to share it when we go outside our home with our fellows.
So, Andre, were you able to attend the Paris gathering this month?
No, because I'm in Quebec, and it was too much money and too much thing. But I enjoy. They are part of my group session. I have a lot of brother and sister from France and Belgium and Quebec in French and in English, and I'm very blessed by those encounters, and with this new method to reach with the Fellowship Brotherhood. It is my first time, like you, I assist to a gathering, and that's why I'm very grateful about the association. I just would like to say as a comment, when I visit your site this week, I was very surprised to see how accurate and up-to-date you are on your site. And I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. We'd love to hear from you more at our future gatherings. You have much to add.
Yeah, got a beautiful spirit, brother. And I appreciate your comment on unity earlier. So let's keep that unity spirit going.
We'd love to have your email address, so for further communications.
I'd like to.
I got it, Diane.
Oh, thanks.
I'd like to mention that, well, the word communion is one I like to use instead of so much meditation. Meditation suggests thinking, whereas communion is less thinking and more listening, and just being and appreciating. Well, it might be nature, but in that you can perceive that God is all around us. So we're not only able to commune with God, we can commune with each other here, and it's a nice experience.
Yeah, I like that word. You know, the root of community. You know, it's a beautiful word.
Before we close, I would like to introduce to you the members of this association so that you know who puts this together. And I'm the president, and Phil Calabrese is our vice president and chair of education. And Betsy McGahey is our secretary. Debbie Herman is our membership. And Mark Erickson, a workhorse must say, is Mark, wave your hand, is our treasurer and our hospitality, and the grandest cook you've ever seen and party giver. So you don't want to miss when Mark is giving us an event here. If I'm not missing someone.
Well, we have some people who are involved, but they aren't here.
Yeah, and Andrew, we would like to get your new email in the chat.
I'm a member.
And yeah, definitely a member.
I guess.
And your new phone number, when they couldn't reach you.
Me?
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. I don't know why it
Huh.
would be new.
Well, I'll try it again.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And I want to introduce my sister Melanie, who joined us today from well, she's in San Diego right now, but she lives in Tucson. And Melanie, I don't know if you're still on, but
Yeah,
just say hi.
Yeah,
Oh.
Melanie's on.
Yeah, Melanie, you're on.
You're
Hi,
muted.
hi. I was trying to figure out how to unmute. Hi, this has been so lovely and really inspiring. I've listened to my brother talk about Urantia for so many years, and at this late age, I'm really getting, to appreciate the depth of it. And for me, I'm a yogi. I'm a yoga therapist, and I've studied a lot of the Upanishads, and I just felt like there was a lot of connection and harmony with those teachings as well. So thank you
Yes.
so much.
Melanie gave me my first Urantia book
Oh my goodness.
Really?
in 1974 or something. So
Wow.
Good for you, Melanie.
Awesome.
Give more.
Good work, Melanie.
good work, Melanie. Yay, Melanie. But now she's gonna read. Now,
I just have two
I'm gonna get
copies.
her to read.
I have two copies at home, but I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, right.
We've been on a beautiful spiritual path, it sounds.
Yes.
Yeah. Really good. Really, really beautiful. Yeah.
I can see your beauty. So keep going.
Thank you.
Yeah, you'll
Well,
find material in the Urantia book about the other major movements, such as, what the Upanishads would be what? Buddhism?
Hindu.
Hindi.
Yeah,
The Vedic tradition, the ancient Vedas.
yes.
The Rig Veda and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot in the Urantia book about that too, Mel. So you which there's a whole section on the evolution of religion on Urantia. So anyway, we've talked about that before, but it's worth rereading again sometime. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I'm going to sign off. Thank you all, and really appreciate the talk, Anthony. We'll touch base again in the future.
I would like that. I would like that.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Anthony.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mel, for coming. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you.
God bless
And thanks for
everybody.
coming, Patrick.
Yep. Thank you all.
Will be recorded and has been recorded, and Mark will put it out there for people to watch after I get the recording. So
Hey.
Thank Jesus and
Thank you all for coming.
our unseen friends for their presence with us and bringing us together.
Yes. Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you all for coming.
Good seeing you,
To the end, to the
Diane.
very
A
end.
long time. We'll talk later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
bye, Debbie.